running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of My Story, My Strength 365-Day Challenge, where I discuss real, raw, authentic stories that I had to endure in my past as a way to remind myself of where I come from, to remind myself of my healing journey, and to remind everyone that healing is not easy. It's really, really messy, and it's really, really difficult to navigate sometimes, but it's possible. And it's actually very empowering, and it's something that I want for all of you, basically. So this is basically a platform. I said basically like 5 times, didn't I? This is a platform to help others understand that it is within reach. And no matter what your story is, you can overcome, you can be uplifted, you can motivate. It's just really hard. And if you are willing to do the work, you're going to see the results. So I'm going to have to start with a trigger warning. This episode contains raw and intense content, including betrayal, trauma, postpartum distress, emotional numbness, verbal abuse, and physical violence involving multiple adults during a domestic conflict. The story features a mother of a newborn being ambushed with news of infidelity, physically pushed while holding her child, and forced into witnessing escalating violence involving a 2x4, blood, and police intervention. Listeners listeners will hear graphic descriptions of being knocked on the ground with an infant, emotional paralysis, and sorry, there's something in my face, and in the face of chaos and betrayal by multiple people, including family members and neighbors. This content may be especially triggering for those who've experienced domestic abuse, postpartum trauma, or sudden violent outbursts during vulnerable life stages. Please listen with care. Leave if necessary. Take a break if needed. Your safety and your emotional well-being matters most. Okay. So there are times when you are in situations that don't even seem real, and you are unaware of how you ended up in that situation or how to even deal with the situation. This memory was about a time when I was so in shock that I kind of just froze at what was happening. I was just 18 years old. I think I was only 18 for a couple of months. And my son, he wasn't even a month old at the time. And I was kind of just sitting outside during one of the few times that my son wasn't crying because he was sickly. He cried a lot. So when he didn't cry, I would sit outside. I would try to get a few calm moments in between dealing with my ex, which is his donor, or dealing with him. I really had time to myself. So this was one of those moments that I'm like, okay. And I saw our downstairs neighbor, and we had all been really close with them. We stayed in an upstairs apartment. His sister, my ex's sister, her kids, his mom, him, and sometimes me off and on stayed in that apartment, and she stayed downstairs, and we all hung out. We had barbecues. The kids played with each other. He would take, her kids with his niece and nephew to the park sometimes. And this went on during my whole pregnancy. She's seen a lot of things that happened between him and I, the violence, everything, and I was in my own apartment for most of my pregnancy. So I was gone a lot, and he was always with his sister. But towards the end of my pregnancy, she began to distance herself. She also had a husband as well. So all of us hung out. He hung out with her husband. But then she started to distance herself from us. I noticed it, but I didn't really care because, they were all older than me. I was 17, 18 years old. It didn't really matter. But a few weeks after I gave birth, she kind of that was the day she walked up to me. I was sitting outside, and she calmly said, "Hey, I'm just letting you know that me and your partner, your guy, we've been messing around the whole time you were pregnant." I just said, okay, she told me his sister, the whole family, they knew what was going on, and I feel bad. I wanted to let you know because you are a sweet girl and you don't deserve this. I wasn't in shock, but I was, because I thought she was better than that, but I didn't react. I asked her, well, can I use your phone? I use your phone. So I used her phone. I called my sister. I said, I need you to come pick me up. And I went upstairs to go and get my things. As I'm up there, I'm telling them I'm going to go to my mom's. My sister would stay with my mom. I'm going to stay with my mom. He's like, what's wrong? And I told him, I'm like, hey, the lady told me what happened between you two, and I don't really care. I just want to go, And he's like, she's lying. The sister's like, she's lying. You listening to everything everybody's saying. I don't know if she heard But next thing we know, I hear a knock on the door. And when they open the door, it's her at the door. She's like, you need to tell her the truth. Stop lying, don't lie. You know that, you've been coming down here for about 7, 8 months, and we've been doing this, we've been doing that. And she pointed at sister, and you're the one that initiated it. You're the one that set us up. You knew the whole time. Y'all need to stop lying to this girl. She's a good girl. Y'all wrong. Y'all horrible. Y'all this. You even let us have sex in your house. And it was just turned into this big argument. And it just exploded. He's arguing with her. His sister's arguing with her. And she's yelling at them. And I'm just walking out of the house. I have my little backpack with my son. I'm walking out. I go downstairs. And he runs downstairs behind me. And I told him I already called my sister. She's on her way. Because he knows if my family comes and they see him fighting me, we're not the closest, but they're not going to they're not going to watch him put his hands on me. So he knew he better not. He knew, so he had to, this is not a time I'm going to hit you, but you better get your ass back in the house. Because he's getting more and more mad. But by this time, she's now behind me yelling at him to admit that, just tell her what happened. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. And he's telling her, bitch, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. And as this is going on, her husband now comes out of the house. And he's trying to figure out what's going on. And he's catching on to the fact that they're arguing because she's telling me that she was having sex with him. He's telling her she's lying. I'm telling them both to just leave me alone. I don't want to hear it anymore. And he's getting more and more mad. And the husband kind of just stands there like, because apparently obviously he didn't know because this was happening while he was at work. I didn't want my son around this. Everybody's screaming. So sister stayed upstairs, but she's screaming down the stairs at the lady. Everybody's threatening everybody. And I'm just like, move, because they're like really close. So we just move. So I'm trying to move him back. He picks up this 2x4. And I just kind of stood there. I didn't know what he was going to do. And he's telling her she better shut the hell up or he's going to, he's threatening her with the stick if she didn't shut up. And he's still trying to grab me by my arm, force me to go inside. And I'm trying to calm it down. But he swings the stick. Now, I don't know if he's swinging at her or me. Because I have our 3-week-old son in my hand. So I'm really hoping that he's not swinging at me. But I don't put anything past this man. But I kind of move over a little bit. And he hits her in the face, across her face with the stick. And so she's like, oh, my gosh. So I'm moved over. She pushes me over. She's a big woman. She's at least 6'3", 6'4". She's a big woman. She's not small. And she realizes that she knocks me down with my baby. So she's trying to help me up. She's apologizing. I'm sorry. I didn't try to do that to you. As she's turned around picking me up, he hits her again in the ear with the stick. Her ear busts. Blood just squirts everywhere. And I got up. And her husband, she fought him back. And her husband again was just standing there. He comes down, her husband comes down as they're fighting. He pulls them apart and he takes her in the house. And while she's in the house, she's calling the ambulance and she's calling the police. While my ex is steadily trying to intimidate me in getting in the house. And at this time, my sister pulls up and she's screaming out of the window like, you better get out of her face. You better get out of her face. And she has her boyfriend in the car and he's seeing that was going to happen. So he walks away, stands back, like, just please go in the house. Now he's trying to be nicer. And at this point, I'm just still standing there like, no. And as she comes around, the police is not shortly behind her. She grabs my son, grabs the car seat. She puts them in the car. The police ask me what happened, ask everyone what happens. They put him in handcuffs. They put her in handcuffs. And I'm telling them, like, I don't want to press charges on her. She didn't try to push me. She apologized. She helped me up. And because she was helping me up, he hit her. Like, no, I didn't want her to go to jail, but he put her in jail. She only stayed in jail for a couple of days, but, it wasn't intentional. I just left her. I went to my mom's, but it was like a humiliating and terrifying experience. And it was one of the most unbelievable moments in my life because that's not something that you think would happen. I mean, I was surprised. Like, it wasn't the first time he cheated. So again, I didn't care. I just wanted to leave. But the fact that he assaulted her for telling him to this point, I was just like, wow. So I identified the wound. In that moment, something in me broke that I didn't even know I had left. I wasn't angry. I was just numb. I was tired. I just gave birth. I just created life. And I'm still surrounded by people who had no respect for mine or this baby. And I started to believe that I wasn't even worthy of basic safety, not even as a mother. I felt like my son had been born into all of this chaos and this violence and betrayal, and that I failed to protect him from his first experiences in the world. Like, this is what you have to be born into. I questioned everything, my judgment, my worth, my ability to raise my child right after that. And I just felt like I was just a body walking through explosions. Like, everyone saw me as just disposable. And I blamed myself for trusting so deeply and for being caught off guard that I couldn't even protect my baby when he needed me the most. So, reflection question: have you ever felt so emotionally blindsided that your body shut down, even when someone that you loved needed you to react? How did that moment affect how you saw yourself as a parent, a partner, or just a person trying to survive? So, the negative mindset that I had at that moment is I should have seen this betrayal coming. I should have protected my son, and I failed him and myself, because honestly, I should have seen this coming. It's not something that was new for him, but again, I wasn't even 18, 6 months, and I'm still learning so much. This was my first actual adult relationship, which wasn't even a real relationship, so I was just trying to learn. But how I reframed that is that the trauma wasn't born from inaction. It was created by those who betrayed and endangered me. I did not fail myself or my son. I walked through hell holding him tight, and I made a call to get me out. I stood in that fire and shielded him from the worst of it. So that wasn't a failure for me. That's a warrior's level of love. So I did not fail him. It wasn't my fault. And the affirmation I have for that is I am not responsible for the chaos that was thrown at me. I am the protector who carried life through. I carried my son through that, and through so much, and I have to remember that. I always look at myself as a failure as a parent, but I didn't fail my children. I protected them the best way I could. So the mini session coping tool, the skill that I'm going to be teaching is attention mapping verbal release. It's a neuro linguistic program technique, and it combines somatic awareness with NLP techniques to help discharge emotional residue trapped in the body after trauma. So again, you have to find sit quietly in a safe spot, and you have to find the pain spot. Okay. So ask your body, where am I still holding on to this trauma? Is it your heart? Is it your chest? Is it your stomach, your neck, your back? Where is your body showing you where that pain is at? And then you have to name that emotion. Put your hand over that spot and say aloud, this is where fear sat. This is where betrayal landed. This is where I went numb. This is where this name, and name the spaces. Naming the spaces helps you reclaim that space. And then you offer a verbal release command. Not offer, you give a verbal release command. Using neuro-linguistic programming, you use phrasing words like my body, it is safe to let go of this now. I don't need to carry their chaos in my cells anymore. Phrases like that, there are more phrases that you can use, but that's a good one. You tell your body, it's safe to let go. I don't need to carry their chaos in my cells. Just let it go. And then you deeply exhale with sound. Inhale fully through your nose, and on the exhale, you make a sound like or ah, or even a soft moan like but just let the vibration move through the pain. Whatever noise that you need to make is a gentle, low vibrating noise. And then you anchor it. You tap gently on that area and say, this is mine now. I reclaim it in peace. And you do this daily until your body begins to feel like your own again, not a container for what they did to you. Again, I say this, do this daily. Now, here we are to the 1-minute empowerment challenge. And this challenge is command the memory. It's a reenactment. Go to a safe space, close your eyes, and replay the memory, but now with you in control. This time, imagine yelling. Imagine yelling, don't touch me. Imagine saying with full confidence, you don't control me. I walk away, and I am taking my peace with me. And you say it loud. You say it again and again. Then say it like you are the person you are now, the stronger person, the wiser person, the person that's no longer scared. You take back the version of yourself that froze in that situation, and you let that person hear you now. Here's my favorite part, the Survivor Spotlight. And this is a Miss Meagan Good, which I didn't know that she was a survivor because she's always so happy and have all this light in her. So Meagan Good has been a beautiful presence on screen, portraying bold, beautiful, and complex women from her teenage years into adulthood. But behind the roles, the red carpets is a woman who has faced deep personal heartbreak, spiritual scrutiny, and emotional betrayal that unfolded in front of millions. Megan began acting at the age 4 and rose to fame in her teens with standout roles in Eve's Bayou, Cousin Skeeter, and later films like Deliver Us from Eva and Think Like a Man. She became a household name, not just for her talent, but her fierce individuality, never fitting into the industry's mold of what a black woman should be. In 2012, she married pastor and film executive Devon Franklin. Their union became a symbol of faith-based love and waiting until marriage, celebrated by the church and media alike. But what the world did not saw. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? They saw a perfect match, but what they didn't see behind closed doors was far more complex. Their divorce in 2021 shocked the public with statements released uh, about it being amicable and peaceful. Yet over time, Megan began sharing the truth, subtly at first, then more directly. In interviews and appearances, she opened about the heartbreak of betrayal that she felt emotionally and spiritually, and the pain of trying to live up to an image that wasn't always real. She didn't just lose a marriage. She lost herself in a system that often told her who she was supposed to be instead of allowing her to just simply be. The world watched her grieve in real time. Rumors swirled, judgments were cast, and as a black woman in the public eye, she bore the weight of society's expectations and the church's silence. But instead of collapsing under the pressure, Megan began to rediscover who she was outside of the narratives others wrote for her. She embraced therapy, leaned into her healing, and spoke out about the realities of the public heartbreak, spiritual misalignment, and emotional neglect. The roles that center complex, powerful black women reclaimed her artistic voice. Off screen, she became a fierce advocate for self worth, mental health, and authentic healing for women who feel they've lost everything and don't know how to start again. Megan Good didn't just survive a divorce, she survived the slow death of her own voice in a space that demanded perfection and over peace. She survived the disappointment of putting faith in someone and something that couldn't hold her. She survived the whispers, the headlines, and judgmental stares from communities that once celebrated her love story. And through it all, she stayed soft without being broken. Megan Good redefined survival, not as walking away unharmed, but as walking away and choosing to heal, loudly, publicly, and unapologetically. So to Miss Megan Good, we thank you for allowing us to witness your becoming. Thank you for surviving betrayal, spiritual exhaustion, and emotional abandonment with grace, fire, and truth. You've shown us that we don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You reminded us that choosing ourselves is the most sacred form of survival. We see you, we thank you, and we honor you. So, you survived what they said you couldn't. You made it through what they tried to destroy in you. And now your voice, your truth, and your healing okay, now your voice, your truth, and your healing get to lead the way for someone else. Oh my goodness, this has been one of those days. Subscribe, please subscribe to Empowered Voices Finding Strength in Survivors to hear these daily challenges and uncut truths. Tune in to Insights of a Survivor every Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, to hear me speak about either solo or have this week I will be having a guest share their story of healing, empowerment, and uplifting, and as well as tools that they needed that could help you get you through your time of struggling. You can also join Raw and Real with All Love every last Saturday of the month, which is this coming up Saturday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we discuss even more unfiltered, unedited, and raw truth of healing and survival. And please do not miss Kiss Corner every Sunday, 7 p.m. with my sister, Coach Kiss. You missed it last night. You can always watch it on replay, where she shares intimate details about her life and how she uses her journey to uplift others in the same situations or similar as hers. Also, please don't forget to buy a copy of my book, A Place to Belong by Perry Jasper. It is a story about emotional abuse from a young girl who refused to let the trauma that she was born in, define her. Digital copies will be available, I'm going to say, by next week on www.soulfulresiliencejourney.online. All of that stuff will be in the links below. If this platform has touched your heart, help us continue the mission. Donate or sponsor to our work. Help survivors like me, like All Love, Coach Kiss, and others keep building sacred communities and spaces for others who have been ignored, erased, or forgotten. Every dollar helps us reach survivors who still think they're alone. Every sponsorship helps us break the silence for good. Click the links in the description to support our journey. Your story does not end in pain, it begins in power. I thank you so much for tuning in. See you tomorrow for another powerful story of healing. I love you all. Please, please stay strong and uplifted.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get